My name's Ian Waitz, and I'm going to give an update on some efforts that we have to improve the first-year undergraduate experience at MIT. And I've titled it Creating a Movement, and I hope you'll see why in another few slides. Chancellor Barnhart noted that the last time we had a major structural improvement to our first-year experience at MIT was in 1964, which I remember because it was the year I was born. And it's fair to ask why now? It's served us well for a long time. And in fact, it may serve us well for a long time into the future. And if our sort of introspection of it leads us to that conclusion, well, that would be a really good, solid conclusion as well. But the fact is that our world has changed, even from 5 or 10 years ago. Our students are different than they were even 5, 10 years ago. And our faculty, students, and alumni have identified areas for improvement. And I won't go into a lot of details about what those areas are, but here are some of the themes that we've heard. Our students are looking for greater flexibility, fewer general institute requirements, more support for choosing majors and exploring different areas, advising, especially in the first year, and a desire to feel inspired by the topic, and they're not feeling as inspired with some of the courses that they experience in the first year. We've also done a lot of work looking at the literature because, as Carl pointed out, most faculty members in science and engineering schools don't have a lot of experience in understanding the educational literature. What we've learned from that is that there are a lot of things that are very important in everyone's lives, but in particular as students start college, which don't appear necessarily on any syllabus of a particular class. And it relates to, very broadly, learning how to be successful and learning how to learn, as an example. So to what extent do we want to increase time spent on training students about these learning skills? So given that we have some needs, how should we change and improve and innovate? And there are some challenges here. We don't have consensus on what the objectives are, and there are a variety of needs that are being expressed. We have a situation where the first year is owned by everyone and owned by no one. So organizationally, that can be a challenge to move forward. And the first year is not the same thing as our General Institute requirements. It's a much broader topic, but it's impossible to talk about one without talking about the other. So we're taking a non-traditional approach. It's a design class, and the project is the first year. And it starts next week. It's open to all undergraduate and graduate students at MIT. It's developed and taught by faculty members from all 5 MIT schools. And the students will learn to apply rigorous methods to synthesize needs from the community, to develop design options, and to evaluate those. This is also something, to sort of borrow the theme from Carl's talk, that we don't always do in faculty committees. We're now going to have a team of students who we will teach methods, and they will apply those methods to this problem. And we hope that that will help move us forward. There's been a team of 30 students, faculty, and staff working for the last 6 or 7 months to prepare the materials so that this class can hit the ground running. And this is just a schematic of how I view the class, and that's that the class is actually the center of a broader stakeholder engagement and communications campaign. Things won't change unless we have a lot of people participating in the conversation, a lot of people understanding and discussing the options, and that was one of the rationales for teaching this as a class. That I felt we needed an army to engage the entire MIT community in this conversation, and that's now happening. We've already this fall interviewed 40 students and a dozen faculty members. We've done a lot of literature survey. We've begun to build a little bit of an understanding of the rationale for change. And the class will engage with many people in another week when it starts. Everywhere from students in dorms to the MIT Corporation to understand what the needs are and to begin this broad conversation. One of the things we learned is that if you're going to design the first year at MIT, you're going to need a big lecture hall for it. We had hoped for about 20 students. We booked a classroom for 55. We're now anticipating 100. So we have a lot of people interested in improving the first year. And these are some of the things that they've said in signing up for the class. They're very thankful for MIT putting faith in our students, giving them a very hard, complex, multi-disciplinary design challenge. They're coming to the class because they want to make MIT better. Right? They want to leave it better than they came to it. So I'm very excited to meet the class a week from now because I think it's going to be a great group to engage with. One of the questions that a lot of people have asked, this happens to be from Susan Silby, who's a member of the team, but what's going to happen next with the class? We've given them the ball, or will give them the ball in another week, and we know that we'll ultimately have to have faculty processes and things like that to move things forward. The short answer is we're not sure, but we know that if we have many members of the MIT community engaging, we'll have a better outcome for it. And there's many ways that you can engage with the class. If you're a student, you can still sign up and be a participant. We're looking for people to mentor groups of students. We're looking for people who will identify themselves as subject matter experts on different areas so that if the class has a question, they can go and talk to people. We're looking for people who will be reviewers of the students' ideas and outcomes. We're looking for respondents to formal needs assessments. And the students have already been invited to many venues to enable this, including the different school councils to talk with the department heads. I mentioned the MIT Corporation. But we're going to work very hard to understand what the needs are. Or you might just be someone who has a great idea to share. Well, if you go to the Office of the Vice Chancellor's website and you look for the first year experience course, you will be able to submit ideas that you might have for advancing things. There's many ways to get engaged, and I encourage you to do so. Thank you.